have to look at setting the goal isn't enough, right? We have to look at how to plan for this goal. How do you create the roadmap for success? So now we know the end point. Your goal is the end point on your map. Now we need to program this into our GPS, so to speak, and we know our starting point. It's where you're at today. We know the end point to what you set your goal at. Now we need to create the roadmap. We need to figure out the fastest, best plan of attack to get there. So this is essentially your goal GPS, right? And so we're going to plug this in. And what we look at is there's a few key steps into planning this out. And this is a key thing that most fitness business owners, they miss out on. A lot of people, they'll set a goal. You may set your goals, set these huge goals. Here's where I'm going to go. They might even be very clear. They might follow the SMARTER principle. They might have everything dialed in, but you forget to plan, how am I going to get there? What are the steps I'm going to have to take to get there? And you set this goal and just hope that it's going to happen. And as my business partner likes to say, hope is not a method. We can't hope to reach our goals. We've got to take the action to get there. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So to escape this time management trap, once you have your goal clearly defined, clearly set, what we're going to look at is we have to set up the plan. So the first part is you take the name of that rock. And remember, we call goals rocks here at Fitness Revolution. So we're going to name that goal, name that rock. We're going to give it a very specific name. That name's going to tell us exactly what we're trying to change. So if it's a metric or a habit, what are we trying to change or implement? What are we trying, how are we going to do that, and then how are we going to measure that, and then also what's the outcome? How do we know if we had success at the end of the day when we look back at this, if we have to report this to someone? And this is where having a business coach or a partner or somebody that can hold you accountable is great, because they can look back on the goal and they can challenge you a little bit on it and say, well, how do I know this is done? You know, a metric-based goal or a sales goal is pretty easy. You either hit the sales number or you didn't. When we talk about these other bigger initiatives that you're going to have to tackle in your business, and if you're not there yet, they're coming. As you continue to grow, you're going to have to tackle these bigger initiatives of hiring people, rebranding, expanding your team, making sure that you're turning into a manager and creating systems. There's all these things that are lying ahead that don't just have a clear endpoint. They aren't as crystal clear as did you hit your sales numbers or not. And that's where these plans come in really handy. Is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create that name. We're going to name the rock very specifically. Step 2, the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to create the key milestones inside of this plan. So what do we have to do starting today? What are the milestones that I have to hit? What are the things that I have to accomplish so that in 90 days or 30 days or in 1 year, whatever your goal timeline is, that I know that I will have accomplished that? How do I make sure that I stay on pace for this? Because the last thing we want to do is get to the final stretch, the last few days before this goal is done, and know we missed a critical step, or we're 4 or 5 steps behind and we can never get it done, or we're never going to be able to accomplish it in the timeline or the deadline that we set. So when you pre-plan out your milestones, now you're going to know, okay, this is what I have to do, here's what I have to hit. And then the third step is we have to assign deadlines to those milestones. We have to set a timeline. So especially in project-based and even revenue-based and metric-based goals and rocks, we're going to look at if you need to add $10,000 a month to your revenue and you need to do that over a quarter, you can't hope to add that all in the last couple weeks of that quarter. You need to constantly be growing. So each month we need to add around $3,000 a month in revenue to the business. If not, you're off track. And being off track is okay if you know that and you can address it, because it allows you to shift gears, it allows you to adjust your plan, it allows you to see, I need to spend a little more time to be more aggressive in the accomplishment of that plan. And so we need to do that. We need to set the timeline. 4, we need to assign ownership. So if you're a solopreneur, if you're running a business by yourself and you don't have a team, then everything probably falls to you. But as you start to grow your team and you're going to bring other people into this, you're going to have to involve them into, you need to assign ownership and then meet with them to make sure they understand what they're responsible for to help you accomplish your goals. So we assign ownership. And then the last piece of the puzzle is that we have to track this along the way, and we use this as our roadmap through the quarter so that I know in 30 days I need to be here, in 45 days I need to be here, and then in 60 days here. And use that to adjust your progress, use that to adjust your plan. We want to take, a 30,000 foot view look at this and then aggressively attack each of those milestones and use this as your GPS throughout the quarter to accomplish your goals.